Hello, Emily. How's it going? Is all good?
Well, everything is good.
I have just noticed that you have sent me an email just, a couple of days ago. I'm so sorry. I just didn't notice that.
Yeah, no worries. And actually, I was able to upload my documents here to the presentation tab.
Yep.
So I've got
All good. All
it.
good. All good.
Yeah, we're good to go. Yeah, no
Uh,
worries.
I've just realized that we've got for just 2 days or 3 days the breakout rooms in a Click meeting. Have you noticed that? It's on the
I,
left-hand side.
I haven't. I haven't. I haven't
Yeah,
played around with it. So that's actually great news because I didn't
yeah.
think I could do that. So maybe next
Mhm.
time I can plan for breakout rooms. That would be amazing.
Absolutely. We didn't even try it out yet, so we need to have a go with it. But
Absolutely. I love that.
gonna be
I
good.
will plan. I'm going to write that down and plan for breakout rooms next time in
Yeah,
January.
that would be great. That would be great. Okay. Great to see you, everybody. I can see some frequent participants of our webinars. That's great. Great to see that. We still have a bit of time, so we are just do a couple of checkups and see if everything is running smoothly. And I will set up the webinar on Facebook, since we may expect, just as previously with you, Emily, that will go simply over the top. We allow only 100 people in the webinar room, and next time we had so many trouble with that because people were complaining that they couldn't go. Of course, they could see that on Facebook, but this participation and this more direct contact with you, Emily,
Right.
it's such a value that people really kind of are eager to kind of grasp every second of some
Oh, that's so sweet.
real interaction,
Right.
and
Right.
Facebook seems to be more distant than just this face-to-face webinar experience.
That's very true. I
Yeah,
like Click. I like this platform very much. I use Zoom primarily and Microsoft Teams, which
true.
I also like as well for classroom teaching. But I think this is really nice. I like all of the features in Click. So, yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah, that's right. Okay, so let me just kind of switch off my camera for a while. I will simply set up the stream, and we'll write a few things on the websites, okay?
Okay, perfect. Oh, let's see. Am I on? Can you hear me okay? Is the audio good? Let's see.
Good. It's all good.
Is the audio okay?
It's very, very clear. Very clear.
Perfect. I've gotten very lazy since I've been at home, unfortunately. I will be glad to be back in the classroom so I can dress up again. It's not quite the same online. The students don't seem to notice either way, so. Okay. There we go. I could also do it this way or scroll. Huh, okay. While we're waiting, you can go to kahoot.it. If you have that in a web browser on your phone, we are going to start with technology, and I will share my screen so you guys can see it. But if you don't already have the Kahoot app, or you haven't used it before, then you can go to Safari or Google on your phone. And you don't have to participate. You can always just watch if you'd rather do that too. But that will save us a little time if you guys want to go ahead and check that out. Breakout rooms. Oh, I'm so excited.
Okay, Emily, once again, do you think I could say a few words about you just at the beginning and introduce a bit of ITA for Poland activity recently?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. I have, I lessened the content a little bit, so we'll have a little bit more time to workshop today. And
Cool.
so it won't be quite so, there's enough time to do that. That's perfect.
Okay. We've got 154 people enrolled, so
Okay.
I think still they will be coming.
Okay.
And I have set up the
Facebook
stream, so we're already on.
Okay.
And let's just give few minutes, and in the meantime, I will simply tell something about ITA for Poland, if you don't mind. Okay.
Perfect. Perfect.
So great to see you guys here in ITA for webinar room, but also on Facebook. I would love to inform you that Emily Clark is absolutely fantastic presenter and a great at detailed use of the resources, because last time when she presented the ideas what to do with teaching, especially online, she very meticulously stripped down every resource and every idea, analyzing it from methodological point of view, didactic, academic, what works best. So that is absolutely a great bomb, full of ideas and inspiration. And Emil Clark is here with us because we just know 2.5 year ago, we thought about spreading the word with IETFL Poland webinars, and we this December we talked about several things. We talked about the use of lexical approach, and that was by Hugh Della. And we also had the Polish webinar, Polish workshop, which was about using some active method with kids, and it was in Polish. But only a few days later, we had the same workshop, but done in English. It was about Christmas practical ideas to use with children. And mind you, you can still watch all the webinars on our YouTube page, on our Facebook profile, but also at Click Meeting. After the webinar, you will be given the link to the certificate and to the resources and to the recording. So it's a great inspiration, and you can use it not only at the time of the webinar, but also later on. Today we'll meet Emily Clark, who will present the topic choosing technology, what works and what doesn't. I'm sure Lucyna will say a few words about Emily right away. But I just want to tell you that next year is going to be the 30 years of IETFL Poland. And we're going to celebrate it with a lot of events. So please spread the word, tell other teachers that we are doing amazing things, and we get such amazing guests, such amazing speakers as Emily Clark, for example. The last thing before we start, I would really love you to come to our website, okay? Because many things are happening there, and mainly that will be some recent changes to our website. We have introduced the new tab on our website, which is Get Inspired, and in this place we share Polish and English articles about how to make your teaching even more amazing. Okay, so that's about IETFL Poland. And now, if I could ask Lucyna to say a few things about Emily Clark. Over to you.
Thank you, Marcin. It's nice to be here with all of you this evening before Christmas. We have already Christmas mind, so we will be listening to Emily today in a positive mood. Yes, that is always nice. Today, I wouldn't like to talk too much about Emily's achievements because it would be serious. It would provide for a series of webinars. So I will just very briefly enumerate some of the key things. Emily, feel free to add something if you miss some of the key issues.
Okay.
So I will just say briefly that Emily represents the University of Kansas. But she also studied at the University of Kansas and Georgia State University. She specializes in many areas, among others, curriculum design, technology, enhancement of curriculum, and this is what we will be referring to today, and also teacher professional development and many other topics. She also has the so-called relevant non-English language teaching skills, such as, for example, marketing, scaffold curriculum, also rating speaking tests, coordinating teachers, and teaching intensive English. She has been an English language fellow, and that is a very important thing to mention, graduate teaching assistant, but also business English tutor, volunteer teacher. So this is a very important aspect of our activity. We are all volunteers, so we are among a group of people who like doing things for other people. Also teaching instructor. As far as her scholarly work is concerned, I have the whole long checklist of workshops, publications, and presentations. And last but not least, I would like to mention very briefly that this is Emily's second webinar for IATEC Poland. The first webinar was online teaching, online language teaching, and it concerned creating a dynamic learning environment. And it was very interesting. Everybody really enjoyed participating in it. This webinar will be about choosing technology, and the title is What Works and What Doesn't. And Emily will mainly concentrate on the fact that we are all faced with choice of platform, technologies, and many other aspects of our online teaching. And this choice is limited to begin with. And we all have questions and doubts, which of the platform or which of the technology will work best? How much of technology am I going to use in my lessons? And many, many other related issues. So in this webinar, Emily will review for all of us different technologies, both technologies which are online and mobile technologies. She will also discuss how they can work well with certain skills and courses to make it possible for us to enhance learning online, because we don't see our students, so we never know. Yes, it's feedback is more difficult to gain from our students. And last but not least, I would like to mention that that Emily is going to continue her webinar series for us in January. So on the 19th of January, we have a webinar planned about differentiated online learning. And it will refer to active learning and how to differentiate learning online, managing larger classes, managing multi-level proficiency classes, and managing students as such. And the last webinar in the series provided by Emily will take place on the 28th of January, and it will concern CPD, so continued professional development, in terms of improving online teaching skills while teaching. And so she will tell us where to go, how to do, how to work on our CPD, who to work with. So she will mention communities of practice, enhancing motivation and teacher networking. Thank you very much, Emily, for the whole series already. And
absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, I wish you could be in my classes every day, Lushna. It would be amazing. Oh, wow. So I'm very lucky to be here. I'm very honored. And I will already say that you are working on your professional development already by being here. So this is something that we are all working on together. So today the focus is going to be on technology, and you'll notice that this should be very interactive. So I am going to be talking, of course, but then I also will be asking for your input. So please feel free to type in the chat as you go. I will try to monitor the chat to answer your questions as we go. And then certainly at the end, I will have some time for that as well. I am a language specialist at the University of Kansas here in Lawrence, Kansas, but I also am a language specialist with the U.S. Department of State. So that's who is sponsoring my being here today. And so again, I'm just very thankful to be here, and I'm looking forward to learning with you as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the title again is Choosing Technology, What Works and What Doesn't. And my name is Emily Clark. You can just call me Emily. So first, before we get started, I really believe in task-based learning, and and just kinesthetic learning and getting into things. So I do want to try Kahoot. I'm going to share my screen. I'm not going to play the audio. That's not really important. But if you can go to kahoot.it on your phone, or if you're using a computer, you can do that too. If you don't want to participate, that's absolutely no problem. You can just watch and you can see how it's used, and then we can go from there. So right now I'm going to share my screen so that you can see kahoot.it. All right. And this is the website, so kahoot.it. And when you get there, it's going to ask you for a PIN number, and you should put this PIN number in, and then it will ask you for a nickname. So you can just type your name there, and then we should start seeing some people showing up in this area, and then we'll start there. So there's Angelina and Vanessa, Ania. Awesome. There is an app for this, so you can always download the mobile app, or you can just go to whatever web browser you have on the telephone that you have, or on the internet as well. Give it a few more minutes to let people join. I like the Christmas themed. They have changed. We're ready for the holidays, certainly. I am. Give it a few more minutes to see other people want to join as well. Have you used, you can type your answers in the chat box. Have you used Kahoot since you've been online? I would be curious to know if you've used it. I used to use it a lot in the face-to-face classroom, but I've also been using it online as well, and it's worked really well. Okay, I like the smiley face here. Okay, I'm going to check the chat really quickly just to see. Okay. Yeah, adults too, agreed. Okay, just wanted to see. All right, it looks like we're probably ready. Oh, no, one more. Hi, Kathy. I don't want anyone to not be able to play, but I don't want to take too much time with this, so we'll see. Maybe one more minute. Okay, I don't think that's a minute, but it looks like, oh, nope. I know I don't want to cut anyone off. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start it. And again, if you didn't get to play just in time, then again, you can watch the screen as well. You'll be able to see it. Okay, so I'm going to hit start now. Normally there would be music. I turned off the music so it wouldn't be loud. Do you like technology? Okay, yes. Okay, that's great. A couple absolutely. No horribles, so that's nice, and not really. Okay, so This is good. You're in the right place. Half the battle is liking technology. What technology do you use most? So on your phone, you're answering based on the color that you see. I like how Kahoot is really simple. And online, you just want things to be simple. Oh, this is a nice variety. So all of the above, quite a few websites, right? Mobile apps, and then learning management system. Actually, that's quite good for me to know. Okay, let's see. Nice work. Oh, it's kind of a close race. Which of the following is your favorite educational technology? There's so many options, so I only had 4 choices here. Okay, so Kahoot, dictionaries, other, certainly, and then textbook, workbooks online. Okay, so I would like to hear a little bit more about other. So if you have ideas that I don't talk about, please make sure that you put those in the chat box so you can share. Do you agree with this statement? I could use this Kahoot in my class. And maybe not even this particular one, but I could use Kahoot in my class is a better question. Okay, great. So that's good to know. And as you see, it's working really well online. So it's definitely easy to do. Why is unhealthy food cheaper than healthy food? This seems very random, but there's a reason for this question. So just answer it as you normally would. Okay, it's cheaper to mass produce unhealthy food. Absolutely, which is obviously very unfortunate. We will come back to that question a little bit later. Nice work, Maria. Okay, nice work, Anna. Okay, nice work. Okay, great. So if we were closer, I would give you candy. Unfortunately, it would be very difficult for me to get candy to you very easily, but just know if we were in class, I would. That's something I actually miss. I used to take my students candy, certainly from before. All right, so getting back to where I was with my PowerPoint. Essentially, what I want to talk about in this session is just a review of technology, how we're using technology, and then how we're going to apply it. And I want to spend the majority of the time on application because I think with technology, often it's about getting the chance to think about how can I apply this in my context. That's what's most important. So just a little bit of a review about technology. I just kind of want to hear from you before we get into this, because how you feel about technology is really going to influence how you use it. So far, it sounds like you guys like technology, and I think that does matter, interestingly enough. So what are your thoughts on these questions? Let's do the first one. Can technology replace a teacher? What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Not really? It can help. I agree. Never. No. Can you learn? Imagine like you just say to the student, you're going to learn language with technology, no teacher. Yeah, exactly. I agree. We're really important for students to be able to learn. I absolutely agree. Okay. What about the second one? Can technology improve teaching? And if so, how? Okay, so we have a yes for that one. How does technology improve teaching? I'd be curious to see what you say. Gives you some options. I absolutely agree. Adds variety. I love that. Not really? Okay, I'd like to come back to that. It can improve. Oh, apps for learning, I agree. Interactive online platforms. Okay, I love those. What about question 3? Can language learning happen online? So at this point, we're in a pandemic. We're kind of forced to be online. Do you feel like language learning is happening? Are the students learning English online? Conversation, Oh, that's actually quite great. I'm thrilled to hear that. I think conversation is the hardest to do online. Okay, the contact you have, I agree. I'd like to come back to that too, Magda. Okay, and then lastly, can you find technology that works for you? Maria, I agree. It can be harder. Reading comprehension, listening, I think are the easiest. I agree. Okay. All right. So again, this is just kind of getting back into the attitudes about technology, because often how you feel about technology is going to come through to the students. It's the same thing with a textbook. If I have a textbook that I didn't choose, I don't like the textbook. And if I communicate to the students, I don't like this textbook, then they're wondering, why are you making me buy this textbook if this isn't helpful, if it's not effective? And so some of it is, technology is where we are right now. So trying to find ways to make it work really is important to have that motivation from, because it really can help the students to also buy into technology too, because the students feel stressed. Some of them, a lot of the students are quite good with technology, but some of them aren't, and it can be very stressful for them as well. Okay, moving on. Again, why would we learn technology, use technology for language learning? Some of you mentioned this. It's another measure of collecting language samples. If I go to the classroom and I have a recorder, I have to go around to each student and record them speaking. That can be really, it's time consuming. Often it's not possible. What am I doing with all of the students that are over here? So if I use an app like Voicethread, for example, the students get out their phones, they can record. I can take them to a language lab, they're recording at home, and they're able to do a lot more than what I'm able to do, even in a face-to-face situation. It also shows their progression. How else do I know that their language is improving? Technology gives me a way to collect it really easily. And then I can go back and say, this was your essay in the beginning, and now here's your writing now. And can you see over time how it's improved? And I think that's really good for both teacher and for student. Again, faster, easier way to get language samples. It allows students another way to engage with the material. Not everybody is a auditory learner. I am not. So if I lived in Laos near Thailand, and it's very much an oral language. So I did not learn well just by being on the street and hoping I was going to hear the language and pick it up. I needed to be in a classroom with visuals, with materials that I could look through. And I think that's, again, important. This is another way that students can engage with material. And I think someone else mentioned that as well. It allows students to review material later. Even when I've had face-to-face classes, I flipped them. So I gave the lectures online, and then when they came to class, I did not lecture to them. It's like, you're going to get in groups, we're going to do activities, you're going to use English now. And online is the time that you can pause the video, you can take notes, you can watch it again. And they loved it. They loved having something that they could listen to again and again. It was really helpful for students that needed that extra support. It allows for different learning styles. I referred to that as well. Allows for time saving. Again, I've had classes before where I met with students that with really low grammar skills, and I only saw them twice a week for 45 minutes, which was not enough time. And so this was something that I was able to flip through and use it. Voicethread is the app. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. That's one I have used for the speaking app, but I mentioned quite a few and a little bit later. And then lastly, it allows you to reuse your course. So if I just have a course that's face-to-face, I might have worksheets. If you're like me, my paper is not very organized. So, well, actually, that's not true. I always start really organized. And by the end of the semester, I couldn't tell you, what week I use this worksheet. I can tell you I use this worksheet, but I can't tell you in week 4 on day 2, I use this worksheet and now I'm going to use this one. It's just not, I'm not as organized in paper as I am online. And I think technology gives us a lot of benefits in that regard. At least for me, it does. So a couple considerations, again, before we get into thinking about the different options that you have. One, don't use too much technology. You feel overwhelmed, so do the students. I actually love technology. So for me, I want to try out new things. And I think, oh, I have the students and we're going to do these things. And I was really lucky to have students. I had beginner students in spring, right when we went into lockdown here in Lawrence, and they tried new technology. It was amazing. And again, they're beginner. They didn't have a lot of technology skills. They're, sitting in their dorms trying to do this in a foreign country. I was really impressed. But looking back, it probably was very stressful for them to learn technology and learn language and the language for the technology that they need as well. So I would say don't use too much. Choose, 1 or 2 options you really like. Use free options if you can, because it can get expensive. Use technology that you can use again for other courses. So the ones that I mentioned, for the most part, they are different types that you can use for any type of class. So that gives you some variety as well. Use user-friendly ones. That's why I love Kahoot. It's really simple for students to use. All they have to do is type the code in, have the app, and then they can use it. It's color-coded. It's very simple, and that's something all students can do no matter their language proficiency. Learn the tech tool very well. So there are going to be tech problems, and you want to make sure that you're using something that you know how to solve the problem in case something happens, and most likely something will happen. And then again, don't choose tech late. So that's my example about spring. You want to start the semester and say, I want to use Kahoot and I want to use Blackboard. That's my learning management system. And I'm going to use Microsoft Word. And those are the 3 things I'm going to use for this class. And you use that throughout. And it helps the students to have a pattern and they don't feel very overwhelmed. Okay, I'm going to pause there very briefly. Does anybody have any questions up until this point? So just a quick pause. I can talk really quickly, so I just want to make sure that I didn't miss any questions here. No, I think I'm keeping up with it. Okay, if you think of questions, just type those in the chat box. All right, so getting into tech usage. If we're thinking about what are we using technology for? So reading, grammar, speaking, listening, pronunciation, business English, research, and critical thinking. And I say business English is just one. It could also be English for any type of specific purpose. So it can be, you could be using language skills to meet specific content as well. So I just use that as a different example. But we're looking at the basic language skills. I also added in research and critical thinking because I work with university students, and this is something we explicitly have to teach is critical thinking and research skills to international students, but also to domestic students as well. American students have to learn research and critical thinking. Everyone does. It's just part of it, a part of academic learning. So in thinking about these language skills, just before I show you what I'm going to show you, what do you think would be some good technology options for the language skills that I've mentioned? Is it not working? Or am I having a tech issue? It says if you refresh the site. Can you guys hear me? Okay, all right. All right, so if you were going to teach reading, for example, what technology would you use for that? or for speaking? Any ideas for that one? I'm going to tell you, but I just wanted to see what you're using currently. Vocaroo, I've heard of that. I haven't used it. Flipgrid, yay! Voki, awesome. Loom, I have not heard of Loom. That's awesome. I'll check that out. As you know, there's just so much technology out there. Nearpod, yeah, I'm going to mention that. I love it. Okay, great. All right, so these are some of the ones that I have. And again, I just ran out of space because there's so, Story Jumper, that sounds nice. I can't wait to see the chat later because I'm going to learn some new ones as well. So there's so many different options to choose from, and I tried to keep this, I tried to keep it down because we could be here all day. There's just so many different technology options. So we use Kahoot, for example. Out of curiosity, unfortunately, oh, wait, can I? Wait a minute. Can I do this? Let's see. I was thinking, no, I don't know. I was thinking I could, wait, can I? No, I was thinking I could draw on it. I don't think I can. Or if I can, I'm not sure. So I need to play around with Click a little bit more myself. But in terms of Kahoot, what could you use this, what kind of skill could you use Kahoot for? Read, write, think, I like that too. Thanks, Amr. Grammar, absolutely. Vocabulary, yes, absolutely. I use it for grammar a lot with lower level students. Okay. All right. What about Socrative? Have you used Socrative, anyone? Critical thinking polls would be good too. Yeah, Socrative. Also grammar. I've used Socrative for writing, testing. Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Quizlet. Yeah, vocabulary primarily. Yep. I've also done testing as well. Yep, absolutely. Marco Polo. Have you ever used Marco Polo, anybody? Oh, that's a new one. I'm excited. Okay, so we're going to talk about Marco Polo. That's great. VoiceTube, not YouTube, VoiceTube. Okay, so there's a couple new ones. All right. And then, of course, TED. I'm sure you guys know about TED. And TED has an app, listening, pronunciation, absolutely. VOA Learning English. No. Okay, awesome. Okay, so what I really want to point out about VOA Learning English is this is a little bit more academic, but still newsy. And also this is specifically American English as well. Marco Polo, oh, I typed Marco Polo twice, I see that. Bitmoji. No, okay. All right. Just to remind, this is a Bitmoji. So this picture of me, this is a Bitmoji. So it's an animated picture of yourself, essentially, that you can create. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Oh, yeah. I mean, I've used it personally too, but I've actually used it as a learning tool as well. Canva. Yes. Okay. I really like Canva a lot. Absolutely. Okay. Happy Color. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that one. That's probably one of my favorites, interestingly enough. Flipgrid, you guys mentioned, Nearpod, Brain Pop. Does anybody teach children? Okay. If you teach children, you might really like Brain Pop. Okay. Yes, okay, great. Khan Academy, I'm sure you know Khan Academy. You can see them writing like a screencast as well. Oh, 6 to 9. Okay, nice. Shadowing. Shadowing is actually an app. If you have an iPhone, I'm not sure if it works for Android. Basic English Speaking is also an app, and then Lyrics Training. Have you ever used Lyrics Training, anybody? Okay, some yes there too. So again, Lyrics Training for listening, and also could be pronunciation too, and for singing, exactly, yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do briefly is pause here, and I've created a technology checklist. Martin can help me think about how I'm going to get it to you. Maybe you can post it. Can you post it? If you have the, oh, actually, you'll have it here. I forgot. I posted the materials here, so you should be able to see the handout. But I created a handout that has a lot of information that you will need as you refer back to it. So briefly, I'm just going to share my screen and show you this handout. So again, thinking about what works for your context is most important. And then what I've done is I've listed these by teacher paced. So if I were going to use these in my class, these are my favorites: Kahoot, Socrative, Quizlet. I really like to, if you have the paid version, you can do Quizlet Live. I also like to have students run the vocabulary. So I've done that before, where if I have students that are good with technology in Zoom, I will say, okay, I'll post the link, go to Quizlet, and I'll have one of the students share their screen and they run the review. They do, they play games with it. I like the one in Quizlet where the asteroid falls to Earth, and they really are like, hurry up, hurry up. They're trying to type really quickly. So it forces them to learn typing as well. And it's completely student run. I'm just facilitating. I use Google Docs a lot. And at the university, I use OneDrive. That's part of Microsoft. And we do a lot of collaborative writing where the students pick different colors. We write together. And it's really easy for me to give feedback to them. Discussion board, of course, in a learning management system. OneNote, I also use OneNote quite a bit for the same reason. So there's a section in OneNote, I don't know if you're familiar with OneNote, but it has a collaborative writing section. So I have the students do many different things. I've had them review restaurants, and then they ask questions and about the restaurant, or they describe the restaurant and they post the links. So you can do everything you do in Microsoft Word, but it's in one place where everyone can see it. And then there's also a private section in OneNote as well. So I've used that for journals. So I have students write privately to me or submit work privately to me. I can give them feedback, and then it just cuts down on the amount of emails, because that's my big thing about online teaching. I want to get the least amount of emails possible. I want my directions to be really clear. I want to use technology where I can give feedback and get emails and everything in one place. So I'm going to be using Teams in spring instead of Zoom, because my colleague has been using it. I substituted for her and it was really great. So I'm going to be using Teams instead of Zoom in spring. I'm looking forward to it. And then lastly, Voicethread. Our university has a paid subscription, so it has more functionality, but it's basically a threaded app. Well, no, I mean, there is an app, but it's a threaded technology where you can upload PowerPoints and pictures. Students can upload, they can call in on their phone, they can do a video, they can do audio recording, and then you can give them public feedback or private. They can upload entire PowerPoints. We use Voicethread quite a bit as well. There's also self-paced. So Nearpod, you guys mentioned, Nearpod has a lot of content that's there. A lot of that's K-12, but it can be used for higher ed as well. Quizlet, I love, just a lot of different options. TED, we mentioned, listening, transcripts. We use a lot for transcripts to have students, mark the transcripts and try to work on their pronunciation to mimic what they're doing. We also use this for note-taking. So, try listening and taking notes, and then go check the transcript and check the organization. Did you note take in the same way that you think you would have? I think that's important. Voice of America. So again, this is, some of these can be really kind of rote, but it's a lot more academic. So I want to actually show you that one since I have the beauty of, oh, my desktop is not very organized. I apologize for that. And now I have lost my internet somehow. There we go. Well, we'll just do a new window. How about that? Voice of America, learning English. And again, you can just look through here and see the types of things. So they'll have very current articles. There's a new lawsuit against Facebook. Actually, that's quite interesting. I should look and see. And then they'll do them by levels. And then they also do, certain word study, and it can be quite interesting. So there's some interesting content based on culture around the world, and then in the US, and they have them based on level. So beginning, intermediate, advanced, US history, and then there's videos. I've used this for assessment as well if I needed more content listening to make a quiz. And then they also have these. So English in a minute, English at the movies, everyday grammar TV, and learning English TV. So this could be a good resource if you just need extra content, American stories. So it may get into literature and other things if you're teaching other things other than just the skills as well. So you may find that you quite like VOA Learning English. There's also lyrics training. So this is the one that some of you mentioned knowing. So lyrics training, this is not quite technology. It helps if I can type it. But these are the ones where, again, you can have the app. Students can do this on their own, and then you see the lyrics, and they can follow along, and they're trying to fill in the words that they hear. So, I heard the word keep, and it will ask them if, it will check to see if that's correct. So that could be quite fun just to make online learning a little engaging. You want it to be fun. And then mobile options. So Marco Polo, you mentioned that you didn't know Marco Polo. So I'm going to show it to you here because it's the easiest way to. And then and I did check with them, and it should work. It works internationally. So this is not a US app. So you should definitely be able to use it. And essentially, it's a way for you to record short videos that are asynchronous. So I use it with my friends often. If they're working, I can record a video. They can watch it later at their convenience. So the only downside to this is you have to have the students' phone numbers, and that may be something that you're not comfortable with or you don't want. But if that's something you can do in your context, I don't know that that would work with children, probably not for privacy. But with adults, or if you're doing some type of training or business English, it's a nice way to work on eye contact of having to look at the camera and talk to the camera and speak clearly. And it's just one option for having video that you can do that's asynchronous as well. So it just has some options there. You can create groups. We've done a lot of those things. There are emojis. You can see when people are watching you. It has quite a few options, and it is stored in the cloud. So the videos aren't on your phone, so it's not taking a bunch of space, which that's something I'm always thinking about too, because I have so many educational apps on my phone as well. Voicethread, again, that's what I was talking about, that has the threaded option where you can use PowerPoint, photos, videos, students can upload. I've used Voicethread for assessments, many different things. Also, Flipgrid is a mobile app. Also, you can have it online as well. And you post topics, and then students, the same things, they put a pin in, and they're able to respond back with video. So it's different from Kahoot, but it's similar in many ways. Depending on the learning management system you have, you could possibly have an app for that as well. So we use Blackboard, which is not the best, it's okay. And there's an app, so I can see different things that the students are doing there. But also within Blackboard, there are quizzes options, there's a discussion board. I can give them assignments, and I can check for plagiarism. So there's a lot within that system, even though it's not my favorite. I'm not sure if you know Duolingo, quite possibly. Duolingo is a learning app that actually is quite good because applied linguists are the ones that are building this app or have built, and they work for Duolingo. So we know that it's validly, language people that are creating this content, and you can learn pretty much any language, real or even unreal languages with Duolingo, but you can learn English there as well. So if you have some students that just want some extra practice, it's not a bad idea. I have used Duolingo to learn Japanese, and I was doing well until the pandemic, and now I'm not doing anything, unfortunately. Bitmoji, again, is the app where the students could create pictures of themselves, and then they could use it for a project about themselves. They could, it could be some type of get to know each other at the beginning, an icebreaker at the beginning of the term. So they see each other's avatars. In Voicethread, you have a picture avatar. So it could just be a way for students to share their face without feeling like they're sharing their picture. Because we've noticed that we have a lot of students that don't want to share their face online. So having, an animated picture could be more motivation for students to create it. Canva is one of my favorites. Canva is an app where you can create basically social media backgrounds. You can create postcards, pretty much anything. It's just wild. And I have used Canva to create storyboards. So the students uploaded pictures, they created captions to their pictures, and then they were able to save it as a picture and then upload it to Voicethread and then narrate over it. So it's like, this was my vacation to San Diego in San Diego last week, and they worked on grammar, they worked on connecting their story. It was amazing, and it was all student done. I just basically modeled how to do it, showed them a model, and they did everything. They used their own pictures, they saved it, and I didn't put that here, but I have an example if you want to see it if we have time. Happy Color was one of the ones that you didn't see, and I don't know that there's an easy way for me to show this to you, but it's essentially an app that you color by number. So it tells you what colors to color the different pictures, and you're doing it on your phone, and then you can save the pictures. And I've been using those. Again, they have some stories or they have messages, and then I've been using those not for learning colors. I didn't have any beginners recently, but I've been using that as content to tell a story. Here's a cat. The cat's name is Henry. Henry is eating food. Henry is an orange cat. Henry doesn't like humans, and that's why he's growling or meowing at them. And so it can be just more content. And I think coloring is just so fun. It's very relaxing for people. Brain Pop, I wanted to actually show you. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint, because that is one that I wanted you to be able to see. So Brain Pop looks like this. So if you have children, if you're working with children, they have adjectives. You can watch a movie. You can see this is animated. There are quizzes. They can make a movie. There's worksheets. There are readings about this content. It's all related. It's all created for children that are learning English as a second language or a third language. So it's really, really nice. And again, you could use many of those things there. Board games. I've also found, I don't know if I put that here. I think I mentioned this in my last talk, but there's Taboo online. I don't know if you like that game. I like to use that with students as well. Teams, absolutely. Quizzes, Google Docs. Man, there's some really great content in here as well. Okay. Also, there is shadowing. So this one, and I think I can make this larger so you can see it more clearly. So this is former President Barack Obama, and it's one of his speeches. So I don't know if you're teaching formal speaking, but if you are, that might be something as well. So it's one of his speeches, and he's recording. So you can see it, you can listen. It shows you the transcript, and then you practice trying to say what he said in the same way, very similar to what you would do with TED, except these are formal speeches. So it's much more formal. And then at some point you can try to memorize it and see if you can say it and to try to mimic his pronunciation. So this would be really good for pronunciation, again, particularly with upper level students, because maybe some of the vocabulary is too hard for a lower level student there as well. So I'm just checking the time here, making sure, see how we're doing. So really quickly, let's just look at this. How would you evaluate, let me go back here. How would you evaluate which technology is best? Again, choose something that enhances what you're doing. Don't just use technology for no reason, really have a purpose. Don't use, too much technology. Fewer options. Keep notes. So if you use, shadowing and you decide, I hate it, I don't want to use this again, then take some notes and think about why you didn't like it, and then choose a different one. And then think about something that integrates well with your learning management system. If you use Canva, certain online systems have tools that go with them that works really well. Microsoft Teams is doing all kinds of really cool stuff. I just saw that Microsoft Teams and Flipgrid are doing something that's integrated too. So there's just a lot of options out there, and it's getting really cool. And then how can you find other options? I'm always looking online for apps. I'm always just searching. So I go to, the App Store and I search ESL, applications, or I look for, I'm always Googling, I'm always talking to people. I'm in the TESOL interest section. So I'm always just trying to kind of keep my ears out to see what are other people using. I also, let me put this in the chat box. I also use hashtags on Instagram. So teachers follow teachers. There are a bunch of those. And if you just follow the hashtag, even if you just put the hashtag teacher, you're going to get a lot of ideas, a lot of content in Instagram, interestingly enough. That happens to me a lot. And then also you can talk to your other colleagues as well. What are you using? Is it working or not? And then lastly, let's focus on application. Try to get through this quickly. So imagine you're in this scenario. You're teaching an intermediate, let me make this a little, yeah, there we go. You're teaching an intermediate speaking course. You want students to speak in English more often. So how would you set this up? What technology would you use? How will you know if students are improving? And how will you know if the technology worked? Okay, so what we're going to do is do this a little bit different, and I am going to share something with you. So give me just 1 second. Okay. Apologies. Okay, so I'm going to put the link to a Google Doc in the chat. Okay, on your phone or on your, you don't have to see me right now. I'm not that interesting. So open up the Google Doc so that way you can type there. So what we're going to do, there are 4 different scenarios. You're going to have a place to type. So I'd love for you to type your answer there. I want us to be able to share, and then you'll have this Google Doc so you can look at these ideas later. I'd love some of these ideas to be in this Google Doc. Facebook groups. Yes. I basically just follow my colleagues that I've met. I've also been in a lot of different organizations so that has helped with Facebook. I have to think about Facebook a little bit. I've been using Instagram a whole lot more. So let's see if we can answer these questions. I'm going to share my screen again so you can see what I'm talking about. That's going to make sense. I'm trying to keep track of the time. All right. Yes. So yeah, perfect. We've got some people here. So you're teaching intermediate course. And then if I were typing here, I would say something like, speaking course, what do I want them to do? I'm going to have them use Flipgrid. How would I set it up? Oops, Flipgrid. I would have teacher sets topics. And then eventually students create their own topics. And they listen and reply to each other. So you guys are going to have this link. Please, 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 when this webinar is done, please keep adding to this because this is your resource. I would love for you to be able to go back to this in January and think, oh, Emily said something about technology. What was the name of it? And you have this. You can keep it forever and ever and ever. I will leave this open. You can edit it all day long. You can share it. I don't care. That's totally fine. So please, please add that there as well. Okay, Voki and Loom Story Jumper. Oh, I like that. They can evaluate each other. Socrative. Okay. And then, of course, we'll just keep adding. I don't know if you guys know how to, but if you right click, you can add more rows below. So we can just keep adding rows for people to, as they feel inclined. Based on time, let me go back to, you guys can keep using it. The second scenario, you're teaching research writing and you want students to write and research properly. What technology would you use and how would you know that it's working? So this is Emily. I'm going to put my idea here. I use, I just lost it. Oh, the OWL at Purdue. How would I know it's working? Because the students aren't plagiarizing. I don't know if that's a big problem for you, but online plagiarism is a problem. Because students just have so much of the internet that they can use, unfortunately. Okay. Scenario 3, you're teaching a beginner reading writing course. You want the students to read more and learn more vocabulary. What would you use for that? So what technology would you use? How will you know if they're improving? How will you know if it's effective? Okay, reading and writing, I would use Kahoot and Quizlet for vocabulary and grammar, possibly for reading, comprehension, review. For writing, I would use OneNote because the students can write collaboratively and they can also write to teacher, solo writing. Okay. Quizzes. Okay, awesome. And as you can see, just write wherever you want to in these boxes. Like, again, you'll have this later, so you can just share as much as you want to. If you want, that's the beauty of Google Docs. You can put links here. This is up to you. Do whatever you want. This is your place to share what you know. And then the last one, you're teaching intermediate grammar. You want the students to use grammar correctly in their writing and speaking. What technology would you use? Oh, Grammarly's good. Kahoot, Socrative. This is Kahoot. Grammar, I like to use Ingvid. I don't know if you know this. These are videos, English videos. And they have quizzes at the bottom of that. And I also use I also use what's the other one for grammar? Oh, it's called Grammar Practice app. As well. And then lastly, I just want to show this to you as well, so we can keep typing. This is your homework. I'm giving you guys some homework. So talk about your favorite face-to-face activity that you would use in a classroom, and then choose a technology to do this online. So you can see mine. So I added my name. Here's my activity I love to do. I explained it, and then this is how I would change this for online. So one of my favorite classroom activities for speaking especially is to have students line up in 2 lines. They face each other. They talk to each other for 1 minute, each person, and then the lines move down and they talk to somebody else. It forces fluency. It makes everybody get up. They're not on their phones. They're looking at each other. They're having to work with eye contact. It's really good. So how would I do that online? Maybe I would use Flipgrid again, to have them, post something and respond pretty quickly. Maybe I would have them, I force fluency for that. So you have to speak for 1 minute. I don't really care what you talk about, but you have to keep talking for 1 minute. You can't stop. You have to speak in English. If you run out of the word, say the one word in Mandarin, but keep going, whatever you do. So this is your homework. Add your name here, add your activities, add rows as you want. As you see, I have a bunch here. And then we'll have a resource later that we can come back to this and we're able to use it. And I'm hoping this can just be something that we keep coming back to, because you guys have some ideas that I haven't heard. So I'm just really looking forward to, and I just chose the biggest ones I could think of, but certainly there are so many options, as we very well know. So that's, again, something that you have access to as long as you want to have access to. Feel free to share it as you wish. We looked through these already, so I'm going to skip down. And then this is the part where it says we have questions. So there was one more thing I wanted to do with Flipgrid. Do I have time or no? Am I out of time? This is 2:30, so maybe I'm out of time. Breakout rooms, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I might be able to do it really quickly. I'm going to send you the link, and even if we don't have time, you can do it a bit later. So let me send you the link really quickly. Pardon. And then again, of course, you have email, and I will put my email below, and then you can, you're welcome to reach out to me and with any questions that you have. I would love to hear them. So just 1 second, let me get the code for you for Flipgrid. Okay. All right. I posted the Flipgrid code, so click on that, please. And once you click on it, it's going to ask you, you should see, excuse me, it will show you that you can record a response. And then when you click record a response, it's going to ask you to either join with Google or with Microsoft. This is the downside to Flipgrid, admittedly, but I'm going to say Google for me. And then, of course, you would have to put in your Google account. And then I can record. So I'm going to record. It's counting down. And let me share my screen so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay, so this is me. Let me do it again. Again, I just want to show you exactly. Yeah, let's definitely. So I put the code into a browser, as you see in Chrome, and it came up, and you can see the name of it, and then this is the question you're going to answer. Remember with the Kahoot, I said, oh, we're going to come back to this. So healthy food is expensive, unhealthy food is cheap. Why is this a problem? How can this problem be solved? Before I get into the technology, I want to tell you why I did a problem. The problem is if you want students to speak online, sometimes you have to give them something to solve. You can't just say, which color is better, blue or red? Like they may not feel very passionate to talk about that. But if you give them a problem, like, how can we solve, world hunger? How can we make food cheaper? Something that they feel strongly about, they're much more likely to engage, and they're much more likely to engage more than what you even ask them. So again, if this were for students, they can play you can't hear the audio, but they can play this video about why healthy eating is so expensive in America, which is very true. And it's a big problem in the US, honestly. And so this would be a really interesting cultural conversation. And now I want to respond. I want to answer these questions. So I'm going to click record. Now you see me. Oh my goodness, that is not a very flattering. That's a little scary, but okay. I'm sorry that this is what I look like. And then again, you can change the effects. So maybe, you know, the students want to add something kind of funky. Oh, I like the flowers. That's nice. Or maybe I want the news. Oh, this is nice. I'm pretending I'm, you know, on the news channel. And then again, options. Yeah, I don't want to record my screen. I'm just going to do me. So it's going to count down for me. In my opinion, I believe that healthy food is very expensive in the U.S. for many reasons, one of which has to do with corn syrup. So corn syrup is something that's derived from corn. It's very cheap to create. It has been proven to cause obesity in humans, and yet, you know, farmers and you know, many people prefer to use corn syrup because it's much cheaper than using regular sugar. Okay, fine. That's what my answer is. I'm done. Next. You can edit it. You have your name. And this is kind of fun. You can take a selfie. So I can, I can't get in the frame. Here we go. And then that becomes, you know, what shows up. I don't know why that's so funny to me. And then you submit it. And then, of course, it will upload your recording. Okay, very nice. Oh, I thought it was there. Okay, it may take I'm probably running too much technology right now, but essentially it will show up, and then you'll see the recording there. And as you guys record, I'll be able to see, yeah, success complete, wonderful. And then when I look here, I'm going to see all of your responses with your recorded videos as well. So if we have just maybe 2 minutes more, I'd love you guys to try it and see what you think. And then you can also go back here and you can respond to me. So here's my video. You watch my video, and now you're going to respond back to me either via text, or you can record a response. So this is so great for students to be able to use. And there is an app on the phone. So it's just really, it's pretty simple once you get used to it, but it can be really great. So why don't we take just a minute and you guys try it. Let me see if you have questions. I'll go back here. Tasks like this on Flipgrid. Can you recommend tutorial? Oh, thank you, Anna. Do I think we can? Let me come back to Powell's question in just a minute, because it's quite good. Often, I will tell you quite honestly, it's very easy. And I don't say that gingerly. It actually is really easy. If you just go to Flipgrid and you Google it, you go to the website, they're going to walk you through I'm pretty sure it gives you some tutorials. There's a video to show you what it's about. They have some webinars that you can join, a Getting Started Guide, a Help Center, and then they kind of walk you through it. And this is through Microsoft, but you can use Google if you want. So you do need to create an account first. So you, if you're going to use as an educator, you'd sign up. So I can show you that really quickly. It may not let me go through it since I'm already signed in. But essentially, you would sign up. It's pretty simple. As long as you have a Gmail or a Microsoft, you're able to see it fairly easily. And then to create a group like I did, what you would do is, you're going to create a class, essentially. So you create a group. You probably want it to be private. So I would call it, listening and speaking. Oh dear, I need to wrap up here. So listening and speaking let me think, spring 2021. So there's my class. And then this is my link. So I would give the students this code to my class. So Clark, and then this particular number. How do I want students to join it? I'm going to have them join with Microsoft or Google, but I could also have them join with a username. So that is a possibility too, but I'm going to make them use their KU email because that's important to me. And then next, and then I would add my students here. So most likely I have all of their emails, or you can use a CSV and then upload all of them at one time. And then you would go through it to add them from there. When I made this one, because it's public, I didn't have to do that. So when I created a group, if I make it public, I just name it, you know, English practice, for example. So public, anybody on the internet can find it. Here's the code. Next. And then I want this to be an introduction. No, I don't want to do that. Let's just say topic. We're going to talk about food insecurity. And then, no, just skip it. That's fine. And then I give you the link just like I did. And then I can share it to Google Classroom. I can make a QR code, which I love because you just scan the QR. I can embed it in web code. I can share this to Teams. So that's what I was mentioning. So watch this. If I share it to Teams, it might open up my KU Teams. I'm not sure. So share to a channel or create an assignment. So I could put this in a channel in my Microsoft Teams, or I could make an assignment with it, choose the class. Once I've created my class, it can be just really dynamic. So I'm super thrilled. I'm planning to use, I use Microsoft Teams, but I'm planning to use Flipgrid a lot more with Microsoft Teams. And then you can always tweet it. You have just a bunch of options, but essentially it's pretty simple. Like once you get in there, and then now that you've created your group, then you just add a topic. And that's where you add the discussion. So the topic is going to be discussion 1. And the question is, why is life so wonderful? You know, respond and explain for 1 minute. And you can add video. That's how I added the YouTube video. You can add an emoji, whatever you want to do, add a GIF. I've been doing a lot of GIFs. So happy, you can search for them. Oh, there's Homer Simpson. Isn't he cute? I'm going to add him because the students will think that's funny. And then these are all of the options. I only want them to speak for 1 minute, 30 seconds, and then I'll create it. And now it's ready. And I share this with students. And then once they get this, then they'll start recording and you'll see the responses there. So hopefully that's helpful. And again, you'll see the responses like you do with me here as well. So I would love for you to practice. Again, this is public, it's open. So you have some homework. So your homework is to go back to this, keep adding to this, keep adding down here. Thank you, Cassia. So Cassia, excuse me. And just keep adding to this. You have some homework here, keep adding to this as well. This is our practice Flipgrid. To me, this is, continued professional development. So please go back to this, practice recording. And then if you have any questions, you can always, of course, send me an email and I will post briefly. And then I'm going to get off here because it's time. We're over time. I am going to try to be more punctual next time. So again, I'm a language fellow and I also work at KU, but you can email here. Email me here at this email. So I'm going to post it. You can also find me if you search ESL Emily in Instagram. You will find me on Instagram and you're welcome to follow me. I have a teacher Instagram. I think it's so important. I totally think you should do it. If you like social media, if you like technology, you're here. So absolutely do it. And then reach out to me. Any questions, please keep sharing in those in the Google Doc and in Flipgrid. I would love to see your faces. I'd love for you to troubleshoot it and then come back to me if you have any further questions. And I think that's it. I wish we had more time. We could do more things, but I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Emily. On behalf of all the participants, there have been so many options that I'm really glad we have the recording, so we
Yeah.
can always go through it at a speed that is convenient for us.
Yes.
Yes, because not everybody is so fast in thinking as you are. Yes.
Yeah, I know. I'm always so fast. Yeah, so that's the recording is quite helpful. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we can find the relevant section, the one that was our favorite. So thank you very much. Merry Christmas to you. Lots of happiness in the new year. Lots of health to all of us. All of us participants.
Absolutely. Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, guys. Chat soon.
Bye.